guys mind passing this around? AP, for you, could you talk about what you thought of practice this far through camp? Are you happy? Are you on track where you thought you would be? Would you classify up to this point your thoughts and expectations?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of good stuff out there. We're getting a lot of reps. If you include preseason game one, we're close to like 1,000 reps right now. So a lot of film to evaluate our roster, obviously our quarterback play, but I think just everything that we're building on from an offensive standpoint, being able to implement so much because of the team peers has really helped us evaluate our team and I think speed up our offense, that growth, because you got so much film to go over, then you have walkthrough and correction. So I like where we're headed as a coaching staff and the way we've been able to spoon feed our players and not give them so much at a time and allow them to make plays.
What's the importance for the team and for the franchise to be able to practice in front of tens of thousands of people here tonight?
No, this is great. I mean, got to thank Sandra and her department and our whole organization putting this together. I mean, I think this is huge to obviously make this home field advantage for us. And there's a lot of people that can't come to our home games because of the price, obviously. This is a great opportunity for us to get in front of our fans, their energy, their passion, their love for the game. That really inspires our guys, right? That gets them going. And in the training camp, kind of these dog days here, we're in a month in the training camp. I mean, these guys are excited. They got on the bus early. We left early from the facility. Guys are excited to get over here because it's different when you play in front of your fans, right? And then more importantly, they got their family here as well. So one thing we talked about as a team is creating that home field advantage. And it starts with our fans and obviously our play.
You guys got mics on either side here, so just raise your hand.
What have been your impressions of Madison so far this camp and also on Saturday?
Of who?
Madison, Alexander Madison.
Oh, no, I think he's a pro's pro. He's been in the system. I think that's the best part about it. The language he's familiar with, the concepts, the scheme of how to play and how to run the wide zone. It's been really good to help out Zamir and Amir, those gentlemen who've been in different systems. But he's been steady Eddie. You just watch him. Like, maybe it's not flashy to the eye, but he's consistent. He's checking all the boxes from his alignments, assignments. He's accountable. You can trust him on third down for protection. And pretty good out the backfield as well.
Antonio, obviously it's not a game, but for you to be the head coach now, to get in the locker room again, to get on the field again, is there like a different feeling now that you have this job, it's going forward and start of a new season for you?
Yeah, it was really exciting even last week in preseason one to get out there and get back in the groove and like all of us, dip our toe in the water and then we got to jump in the water and go out there and get after it. And I think there was so much learning and teaching tape off of last week's film for our players, for our coaches, for myself. For a lot of situational football, we got a lot of great examples of that to work on. And I think it's even better here at home. We got 8 games here in the regular season, and our goal is to win every one, obviously, right? And we want to really create that and get that black hole going again. So for me, it's huge to really set the tone for our staff and our team of what we want to look like at home.
Okay. Antonio, you've talked about how Max wrecks practices with the way he goes, and he only knows one speed. And he talked yesterday a little bit about it as well, having been taken off the practice field. How fine is that line between getting him ready to go, but also getting in some good learning and good teaching for the offense, too, without him, like you said, wrecking practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult when you have a player of his magnitude, the way he practices, the effort. I mean, that's where he gets you at. When our guys get tired and everybody in the league, it happens to them, and all of a sudden on play 6, here comes Max. But I think when we're doing things as a team, certain things we just got to get off, right? There's certain plays we want to see, and sometimes you got to pull them off on those plays to get the look for the offense. I mean, he is that type of player now in his career where when he makes up his mind, he's unblockable. And I think he understands that. We understand that. There's a fine line, you're right. But the one thing about Max I don't worry about is his conditioning and if he's ready to ever play a game. So the most important thing me and Max talked about, though, was depth, right? Max has played over 1,000 snaps each and every year in his career. We got to be smart. Max has to be smart as he gets older. We need that Tyree Wilson. We need those Robinsons, the Malcolm Kuntzes of the world to really step up. And the only way you feel that pressure when you don't have 98 on the field. Now it's got to be next man up mentality. And I think he's bought into that as well.
Antonio, you came up as an undrafted free agent. I know you're keeping a wide lens on this team, obviously, but do you keep an eye on that particular group? And is there anybody that's popped for you from that group?
Yeah, I mean, every year you got, 3 to 5 guys that just kind of pop up, right? It's just like, man, check this guy out. And, I say Will Putnam, center, he's done a really good job for us. We got some other guys, linebackers. Amari's done a really good job. Amir's done a really good job as far as just stepping up, being physical. But I think overall these guys, they'll get more opportunities at the beginning of the preseason. it's tough, especially when you're playing your starters like we are, and we're playing our guys, and we're going to do it again this week. For those guys to get the reps. But I think more importantly, you look at the guys that, listen, if they don't make the roster, if we put them on a practice squad, is that somebody that we feel like we can develop in a year or two, they become a player?
Antonio, on the second half of the season last year, the team really stepped it up under your guidance, especially on defense, and you actually became part of the storyline in terms of your job, people chanting your name. If you remember the last game of the year, and I'm wondering, this year, is there some kind of storyline or some rallying point that you sense that the team is going to take to get to that next level after the second half of last year?
Yeah, I think we hit it on training camp. Well, some of our players did. They're reading headlines of what the media is saying and predicting of our record and what they think of our defense and coaches and players. And, I mean, they're taking that to heart. And I think, we got to go out there and obviously produce and change that narrative. But I think that'd be one of the storylines. I think these guys, and I know for myself, we're tired of losing. This organization wants to be consistent. We want to be in the hunt for the playoffs and then have an opportunity to win the division and get that lottery ticket to play in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. So that's our goals, like every team, the other 31 teams in the National Football League. But I think this team is hungry to really prove what we did in the last 9 games, especially that last month, wasn't a fluke.
AP, when into the strategy to bring Peterman in?
One more time.
Bringing Peterman, what was behind that?
Competition. There's more competition in the quarterback room.
You said starters will play this week. Devontae last night said he'd choose not to if it was up to him. Will there be a conversation, or do you think that it's kind of his point in his career would be up to him?
No. If you're healthy, you'll play.
Something that we saw yesterday was Trayvon Merrick. He got an interception. Obviously, the safeties, they've been getting a lot of interceptions, getting their hands on the ball. What have you seen from that group just in total, and what you've liked?
Just consistent play. I'm going to go to their position coach. I think Gerald Alexander has done a great job communicating, demanding, earning their respect, and more importantly, putting what we talk about in the meeting rooms, on the grass, and individual, and then watching those guys then do it in team periods. Trayvon stood out the other day in the game. If you watched him tackle, come down from the second level, it was impressive. I mean, it was bang, bang, guy was down, and did a good job at filling the alley. You're starting to see what I think we all hoped for when we drafted him a few years back, that dominant presence. And I think, he's physical, but I think the one thing we all got excited about was his ball hawking ability, and he's shown that throughout camp. He has the range, he has the size. The sky's the limit for him. And I think he's now started to understand, like what we saw with Malcolm Kuntz at the end of the season. He's really found his niche, and he's very comfortable in his own skin.
AP, obviously you believed in DJ Glaze, but are you a little bit pleasantly surprised at how far he's come in camp?
Yeah, the only word I can say for him is consistent. He just, he had some other snaps, but he had one snap in the game I know we all wish we take back, right? The first one in the third quarter, guy gets inside move on him, he gives up a sack. Other than that, I mean, you're talking about somebody that's been sticky, consistent, alignment, assignment, his technique it's every day. It starts in practice, and then we get in the game, and it happens in the game, and he's going against Max and Malcolm and Tyree, and it just shows up. Now, he's going to get beat. He's a rookie. He's going to go through some growing pains, but very impressive just to see his growth and development, but more importantly, how consistent he's been each and every day. That's hard for rookies to do.
Antonio, there's been some coaches that have kind of indicated this week that despite all the work that's gone into kickoffs and all the figuring out things, that maybe in the end you just end up saying, you know what, let's just kick it through the end zone, take the 30-yard touchback. Has that been part of your conversation? How much do you want to kind of see how it plays out the rest of the way before you make a decision like that? And maybe do you think you guys have an edge on special teams with the guys that you have? And then real quick, unrelated to that, but Thayer left practice yesterday. Any update on him?
Yeah, Thayer, dealing with the finger. We'll see how that goes. He won't be at practice today, so we'll be smart with him. Obviously, that's been something that's been bothering him for a while. Regarding the kickoffs, I like our kickoff coverage team. We did that last year when I took over. If you remember, we covered kicks, we returned punts, we returned kickoff returns. I think that's an advantage where we spend so much time in practice. We got 4 periods a day on special teams. We really like the guys that we got covering. We think we have an advantage there, especially with our kicker. I know last week wasn't the way we wanted to go, but where we've been placing it in practice has been pretty consistent. And we figured, look, you're talking about the 30-yard line, but if we can get those guys in between the 20 and 25, that's a win for us, especially with our defense.
Antonio, you had mentioned Colton Miller and Jackson Powers could be next week. I know in Colton's case, he should be ready, right? In terms of the veteran type deal. But with Jackson, there's some time that has been lost. So you kind of get into that point where it becomes uncertain in terms of starting the season with him.
Yeah, well, some good news is we took him off PUP today. Right, he's off PUP. He'll be at practice day. He'll be limited, And like everything else, man, we got to ramp him back up. So he has a few weeks. We got a few weeks before the game. To sit there and say he'll probably be a starter day one, probably not. But I think it's always smart with rookies not to rush them. First of all, just like we talked about DJ, it's the learning curve. It's get in there, getting back into practice shape, then game shape. So he has a ways to go, and I think he's done a good job off to the side on his own. Now he's back. He's off PUP. We're excited to have him back. Any more guys? Okay. Thank you.